Now, seamless segue to go from VAR in one game to another refereeing decision and another VAR intervention in another game. West Ham 2, Man United 1, Janusz. I want to start at the end, as you do. West Ham won this on a penalty, well converted by Jarrod Bowen. Without me trying to influence the jury, what was your take on the incident when Matthijs de Ligt came in, was adjudged to have fouled Danny Ings, and then it took a while to sort things out?
Crime. That's all I can say. A terrible decision, inexplicable to me in so many ways, especially that the referee had a chance to go and take a look at that. In a game like this, in a penalty area, is just a coming together. Neither player went for the ball, really. I mean, or got the ball, and these things happen, right? So I just think that it's absolutely awful for the referee to have a chance and look at it and come out to say that, yeah, there was contact, that's for sure. But as I said before, to me, absolutely nothing, and very, very lucky for West Ham. So this time VAR called the referee. Referee went, had a chance to say, you know what, there's nothing to it. Danny Ings was never going to get there. He was going down. These two players knew they were going to come together. And I, for one, cannot understand why this was a penalty in any way. I could see this a million times, and I'm sure the referees are going to explain it to me in a million different ways, and I'm not having it. To me, that's never, ever a penalty.
Michael Oliver is the VAR official here. LME, you've just come out, rightly so, and praised the VAR intervention, Jarrod Gillett, at Stamford Bridge. Why is Michael Oliver even getting involved here when we seem to have a different level of bar for both referees and video assistant referees to either get involved both for and against giving penalties?
Yeah, this is where I said it's not perfect and other things can happen. And I mean, look, the only thing I'm going to say here is that I'm in full agreement with Janusz Michallik. This was just a ridiculous decision. And to your point, there is no need at all to interfere here. It's insane. And by the way, if you look very closely, I would even venture to say that Danny Ings handballed as well.
So we're talking about that. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Exactly. So it's a ridiculous decision to do this. And this is the issue. It's never going to be perfect. And unfortunately so, it became one against Manchester United. But I do want to focus on the fact that Manchester United should have put this game away before the halftime whistle. And it's absolutely the biggest criticism. Well, they have a million, but one of them that's massively overstated over and over again is the fact that they cannot put goals away. Diego Dalot had a ridiculous chance to put it away, and that was just one of four. And they continued to deliver and create options. And once again, they didn't do it. And what happened? Yes, the penalty decision was ridiculous, but it's a self-inflicted wound because this narrative should have already been to the advantage of United. And West Ham took it and they won it, but United really are going to look back at this tape and be like, oh my God. And guess what? The next four games now, they have what? Leicester City in the league, Chelsea, Leicester, and Ipswich. We're back to square one here. You got to put these chances away. How could you not do it? And yes, it was a horrible penalty decision, but in the end, you've got to take the opportunities that you present yourselves with, and you didn't.
Premier League Match Centre is a new Twitter account this season, or X, or whatever it's called. And they don't try and defend. They explain why a decision was given. And interestingly enough, the only way you can kind of respond to it is by quote tweeting, because replies are not allowed. Here's what they say. I don't even know if
I want to hear it. As I told you, they're going to try to explain it every which way.
They can try all they want. It was a nonsense decision. 87 minutes, VAR overturned. This is what the Premier League Match Centre on Twitter said. The referee did not award a penalty to West Ham. If they'd stopped there, it might have been fine. For a challenge by De Ligt on Ings. The VAR deemed there was sufficient contact on Ings' lower leg and recommended an on-field review. The referee overturned his original decision and awarded a penalty. That doesn't help things at all. Anyway, we could be here for a while. Arsenal-Liverpool soon. We've still got to get to Palace against Spurs. So, Janusz, as LME was kind of teasing, Man United could have scored 4 or 5 in the first half. So, what's the problem with them in front of goal this season?
Well, there's a number of issues. I'll start with the negative and maybe finish on the positive, because there's been some good things, right? We saw against Brentford, a definite mindset, right? Even in a game against Fenerbahce, I saw that, and certainly today from the beginning mentioned, yeah, I'm going to go with positive. Why not? They're not as pragmatic, right? They're starting to play. We're starting to see Manchester United that presses high, commits players forward, and we saw that today. And as LME said, they should have put it away. You have Garnacho one-on-one from that angle, a Fabianski save. You have Bruno Fernandes header, right? You have Dalot, empty goal. He's got to put it away. I think Casemiro had a header from a free kick as well. So there's enough. But see, that's the problem with Manchester United. One, that I don't think that can be solved, to be quite honest. You know why that is? Because they've definitely, they've hit a ceiling. There's not much you're going to get. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Is Højlund going to be the sort of player that's going to consistently deliver your goals? How long are we going to wait for that? Again, today, pretty much non-existent, right? Rashford, that story we have to close. How long? I wish him all the best. But again, today, one of the players, we look at Marcus Rashford, and we've seen one season when he's been excellent. And I just think, speaking of that ceiling, this is over. This is not going to improve to a degree that we once saw, because you can't wait for Marcus Rashford another season to show that consistency. This is Manchester United. Garnacho, by far the most, if not the best, the most dangerous player that we saw today, especially in that first half, still not refined. I think we can expect a lot more goals from him in terms of ceiling. He still has a lot to go, and perhaps will come in. And then, where do you go from there? Okay, Casemiro's, but you have two, overaged players in that midfield. You tell me, where do you find players that are going to get you those goals, right? I think it's going to be hard. What they have, 7-8 goals on the season so far. I don't think that's going to change much from now on. So that is a massive problem for Manchester United for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest problems they also have, LME, is it's all right saying, well, he ain't going to work, we'll have to move him on. They can't move players on because they're on such big wages. The players are under contract. They're just quite rightly saying, I'm not going anywhere unless it's worth my time and worth my bank balance going somewhere. So to get players out before they get players in is a big problem for them. It's
a big problem. And the other component as well is that the initial opportunities to bring right players that would have suited the system, they chose not to do it. They brought in the wrong one. We all thought that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's inclusion in this, executive board and Ineos was going to at least calm the storm. It's actually added way more torrential drains here. It's just one win in the last 8 competitive games in all competitions. Like Janusz said, what is it? 8-9 goals scored in the Premier League. It's ridiculous. So the thing is, we keep saying, this is Manchester United. It should not happen. This is Manchester United. It should not happen. Well, guess what? This is Manchester United. This is it. This is who they are. And it's not completely Erik ten Hag's fault, but he's a main factor of it. It's not completely the players' fault, but they're a massive factor of it. I don't know what the answer is, but like Janusz said, this is going to continue to happen, because what's going to happen is they'll get one good win and everybody will say they're back. And then 3 straight losses or 3 poor performances, and then we're back here again. So I don't know what the answer is. All I know is that whoever's trying to solve the answer is not coming up with the right solutions.
Unfortunately, it's the manager. You have to try. I know it's not good, and how many changes you have to have, right? Sometimes you need the consistency and all that. And I actually didn't think that I was going to go to Erik ten Hag, because, as I've said, I've seen some improvements in the last 2-3 games in the way that Erik ten Hag wants to play. But ultimately, when you're such a big club like Manchester United, and we see this everywhere, right? Chelsea, great example. They were looking, they couldn't find it. And look at Maresca. Clearly, you can see the changes, right? You can go to Barcelona and Hansi Flick. You can see the changes. You can, there's so many teams. You look at Slot with Klopp. You got to keep trying, because, as you've said, you're not going to be able to change these players, this season or next, maybe 1 or 2 or 3, but you can't continuously spend and think that it's going to work itself out. So you need somebody that's going to come with an idea, a different one. I don't know what that is, but somebody that's going to in some way make players accountable and motivate them to such a way that you can make something with what you have. And I just think that at this stage with Ten Hag, I don't know how much more you can change that. And that's why you have to continue to look for a leader. You have to find somebody that will make these players better and get that ceiling that I was talking about a little bit higher.